You're right to worry, but here we go. And I'd like to welcome everybody to Shabbat at Beth Shalom. It's so good to see so many of you joining us for our virtual Shabbat service this week. Yep, I see lots of people waving. Great to see you all. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. So as we're getting started here, I'm just going to invite everyone to take a nice deep breath and let it out. And do it again as many times as you need to settle whatever schmutz is in your heart and in your mind and in your life right now. Just let it all go. For a little while, we're just going to be together, enjoy one another's company, and sing and pray and learn some Torah. It's going to be good. While we're waiting for our official moment to start, I would like to invite everybody to feel free to use the chat tool to greet one another. My son Eli, our digital director, will be managing the chat. If there's anything I need to know, he'll let me know. And I see Isabel Atlas and Annette Gross joining us. Good to see you all. I see more people waving, so welcome. Let's feel free to take another nice deep breath in and out and just let the stress and the strain of the week float away. And I see Barbie joining us and someone joining by cell phone. Shabbat Shalom to you too, Annette. Welcome to Jackie. My mom joining from Iowa City, and our president, Beth Landy, is here. I'd also invite you all to just take a minute to think back to the week that just was, and what were some of the spiritual high points. For me, one of them was being invited to officiate at a bris, a circumcision of a baby boy, brand new. It was very exciting, and it was the first time in quite a while I had been present physically in real life at a Jewish event. It was one of these hybrid kinds of things where there were about 6 of us adults in the room, and I understand about 100 joining us on Zoom. But even with 6 people in a room, you can sing a little bit, and I've missed that. So when the time is right, we will get back together. We'll hear one another's voices raised in song, and I'm really looking forward to it. I wanted to thank especially David Gervis for all his hard work on our newsletter, and Mickey Gervis for her hard work on our membership committee. I wanted to thank Lonnie Grawl for his wonderful job of hosting our trivia night last week. And for that matter, it's just about time to begin lighting candles. So we're going to be using our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah. If you have a copy, please feel free to get it out. And you can join us on pages 2 and 3. If you're using the online flip book, that's where we'll begin also. So in just one more minute, it'll be 6:30 and time for our official start. And welcome. Let's take one more deep breath. And let's go ahead and unmute Lonnie and Diane Grawl for our candle lighting and blessings on pages 2 and 3.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Amen.
So by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who kindled lights. So may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Amen. Thank you so much, Lonnie and Diane. It's great to see you, and thank you for the light and the joy that you bring to us. We're going to continue now with our Shabbat hymn, Lecha Dodi. If you are using the downloadable pages that we share each week, you can pull those out, or you can join us on pages 20 and 21 in our book.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zachor diborecha hishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad Shemo echad, Shemo tiferet, belitila, lecha dodi, lekrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, lekrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lekrat Shabbat lefuvenecha ki mekor. Abraham Rosh Mekedem Nesufa Thomas B'Makshava Tefila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Toreri kiva oret ubi ori shida beri kavod Adonai aleli kitla lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. And you are invited to raise your spirit or stand to welcome the Sabbath bride into your home. Oy v'shalom ateret bala, kam b'simcha u'v'tzola tov emune, am segula boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Everyone, so much thanks to our wonderful song leader, Juliet Naring. Juliet, thanks so much for the music and the life that you bring to our service. Thank you so very much. That's a favorite melody of mine for Lecha Dodi, and I hope you all liked it too. I see my Aunt Emily is joining us from New York, so hey, Aunt Emily, great to see you. We are going to turn now to Shabbat Service 2 on page 145. If you are using a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, our prayer book this evening. And if you're not, if you are using the online flip book, you can turn to that page now. Or, as always, you can just hum along. If you know it by heart, you can chant along, you can hum, you can just make all the noise you want. The God of my understanding understands what you mean. So, Chatzi Kaddish, which ends our initial prayers of our service and begins the main service this evening. Yitkadahal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayei uv'yomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam alal me'almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalahal shemei dekutsha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru. Amen. Turning to page 146 brings us to the Baruch Hu, our formal call to worship this evening. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. And I'd like to invite Howard Gross to offer our next reading, which appears on page 147. Howard, hold on. Technical difficulties. I'm going to make you host.
That work? We ready to go? Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Through all things past, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become better co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding word. Baruch atah Adonai hamariv arazim.
Thank you so much, Howard. We turn now to 148 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chokim u'mishpatim Otanu limadta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu V'shofteinu u'v'chumenu Nasiot v'chukecha v'mitzvot v'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה ואהבת אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים
Juliet, thank you so very much. For the last few weeks, we have been, as well, when we chant the Shema, we've also been doing it in sign language, which not only helps us fulfill the commandment to hear, but allows us some semblance of singing together. If we can't sing together with our voices, at least we can sign together. So there may be other ways of signing the Shema, but this is the one that I learned, and I am always open to suggestions. If anyone has another way of teaching it, that would be great too. The way I learned it is the first moving sign, Shema. Second, little finger up, describing a circle, Yisra, and then unrolling a Torah scroll for El. Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, coming down beside us, Eloheinu, God's protecting presence across us. Adonai again, Echad. Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. And please feel free to chant with me on page 150, the Ve'ahavta, the commandment to love our God with all of our heart and soul and might. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantaham levanecha v'dibartaha baham b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uveshochbecha uvekumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'heinenecha uchatavtam al mezuzahot beitecha uvihisharecha Lemahan tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emed. We turning to page 153 in Mishkan Tefillah, whether it's a paper book or an online flip book. We invite Lonnie and Diane to join us again.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei Sukkot Shalom, Aleinu ve'akol Amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. At this time, I would invite our online kahila, our online congregation, either if you choose to rise to your feet or as I do to lift your spirits even while seated. We come now to the tefillah, also known as the Amidah, our central prayer of our worship service this evening. The first three blessings of this prayer appear on pages 156, 57, and 58, the Avot, the Gevurot, and the Atah Kadosh. Please feel free to join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, v'zocher chaste avot ve'imahot, umevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, mechaye hakol b'rachamim rabim. Sohomech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umikayem emunato. Lishenei afar michamocha ba'al givurot umido melach melech meimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Page 158. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We take a few moments now for our silent devotion, whether for the prayers that are in the book on the coming pages or the prayers in your own hearts and minds. Feel free to have a moment of silent devotion. We'll come back together again in just a minute with our Misha Berach prayer for healing. This week at Temple Beth Shalom, we are thinking of Thomas Tracy, Dennis Nichols, Don Siegel, Samantha Brown, Miles Brown, Rhonda Burns, Jeannie Stein, Margaret Schwimmer, Stacy Leeds, Nancy Felsher, Kristen Jones, Bennett Leshnover, Caleb Ben Sarah Avraham, Ray Riley, Jack Steneker, Linda Charon, Ed Ramthun, Yudi Dukes, Chaim Schneur Zalman, Yehuda Ben Hinda Yocheved, and people everywhere who are suffering and who are in need of healing. Juliet and I would like to encourage everyone who has a name to share to put it into the chat tool that you'll find at the bottom. And you can also send me email messages if you have a name that belongs on the weekly Misha Berach list. This evening we'll be singing the Misha Berach that appears on page 253 of our book.
And as we move into our Misha Berach, let's all take a deep breath in again and feel connected with those of us who are seeking healing, those who we are keeping in our hearts. Misha Berach Avodeinu Makor HaBaracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yishemerach imodei, Makor Avraham leavodeinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you so much. So Juliet taught me a new word this week. And that word is subitize, which means to perceive at a glance the number of items presented, the limit for humans being about 7. Thus, when, for example, we roll a pair of dice, see that? We don't have to count them. We just know the number of pips on each face of each die at a glance, just by recognizing the pattern. We subitize. I wonder about that limit of 7, though. I mean, I think I could subitize by 5s pretty well. Maybe even as high as 20 if I were to use that well-known system of 4 vertical lines with a diagonal slash through each group to represent 5. There was this great video on Schoolhouse Rock when people of my generation were kids about counting by 5s. I've always enjoyed it. Our Torah portion this week is filled with wonderful names and wonderful numbers. This portion is, of course, Bamidbar, which literally means in the desert or in the wilderness. Hebrew books are generally named after their opening words. So our portion introduces the whole book of Bamidbar. In English, this book is known as the Book of Numbers, as if it were an elementary mathematics text, or as if it contained secret, mystical connections between numbers and the true nature of things. But in fact, it really does. In our portion, Numbers chapter 1, verses 2 and 3, God instructs Moses to take a census. Se'u et rosh kol adat b'nei Yisrael למishpachotam לבית אבותם במספר שמות כל זכר לגבולתם. לגולגalotam. Take a census of the whole Israelite community by the clans of its ancestral houses, listing the names, every male, head by head. Mi ben esrim shana vamala kol yotzei tzva b'Yisrael. Tifkadu otam letzivotam ata ve'aharon. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups from the age of 20 years and up. all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. This census of military-age men is the second of only 3 censuses of Israel in the entire Tanakh. That Tanakh is Torah, Nevi'im, V'Ketuvim, meaning the 5 books of Moses, the prophets, and the sacred writings, the 3 divisions that make up the entire Hebrew Bible, which Christians call the Old Testament. Counting Israelites was fraught back then. As we discussed in our Torah study session earlier this week, an accurate census gives power to the ruler, the power of conscription of men into military service, the power of corvée, of mandatory physical labor. That's how the temple got built in Jerusalem originally. And it gives the power to tax the people's wealth. As if that's not enough, Moses' first census happens alongside the terrible episode of the golden calf. So that census was as much an act of triage as it was of administration. By the way, the third and last census in the Tanakh doesn't occur until many centuries later, until King David in 2 Samuel chapter 24. In any case, Aaron and each tribe's chieftain tally up all of that tribe's men over the age of 20 who are able to bear arms. Listening to the names of the tribal chieftains and the numbers of draft-age men in each tribe, the census yields is a kind of mantra, a meditation in words and math. The tribe of Reuven's chieftain is named Elitzur, meaning God is my rock. The men of Reuven who are eligible for the draft are 46,500. The tribe of Shimon's chieftain, Shlumiel, meaning God is my peace, 59,300 men. The tribe of Gad's chieftain, Eliasaph, meaning God has made me greater, 45,650 men. Judah's chieftain, Nachshon ben Aminadav, 74,600 men. Yissachar's chieftain, Natan El, gift of God, 54,400 men. Zvulun's chieftain, Eliav, God is my father, 57,400 men. Ephraim's chieftain, Elishama, God has heard me, 40,500 men. Menashe's chieftain, Gamliel, God is with me too, 32,200 men. Benjamin's chieftain, Avidan, may my father judge, 35,400 men. The tribe of Dan's chieftain, Achiezer, my brother is my help, 62,000 men. The chieftain of Asher, Pagiel, meaning may God meet me, 41,500 men. And chieftain of Naphtali, Achira, 54,400 men. Numbers chapter 1, verse 46, crunches the numbers, so to speak. Vayihyu kol hapkudim 600,000 u'shloshet alafim v'chamesh v'chamishim. All who were enrolled came to 603,550. I decided to check the math for myself. An icy chill went down my spine as I discovered a scandalous falsehood. Imagine my relief when I discovered I'd made a simple accounting error and neglected to add up the tribe of Naphtali. And when I did that, indeed, they did add up, as you can see right here. Get it? Each tribe comes up with tens of thousands of men. Frequently, I notice there are odd numbers in the thousands place. Here, there we go. We've got 59,000 in Shimon, 45,000 of Gad, 57,000 in Zvulun, 35,000 in Binyamin, 41,000 in Asher, and 53,000 in Naphtali. That strikes me as somewhat authentic numbers. God, even one tribe, the tribe of God, I notice, even has a number in the tens place, 650. I also notice that all of these numbers are divisible by 10. As you'll see here, the average is a little messy, but it ends in 5. And if you look over here, just for fun, I organized them from the highest contribution to the lowest. The tribe of Judah contributes the most soldiers, whereas the tribe of Manasseh contributes the lowest number. Gad and Naphtali here seem to be just above and below the Naphtali and Reuven seem to be just above and below the median. In our Torah study last Wednesday, we struggled with how such a huge number of people, 603,550, could survive for 40 years in the desert, particularly if this number only includes the adult males. Professor Richard Elliott Friedman of the University of Georgia writes, if we add the underage and elderly males, all the females, and the Levites, the total number of Israelites must approach 2 million. He adds that it's possible that these numbers really come from the census taken centuries later that I mentioned earlier by King David. In that case, the numbers would be more understandable, but still suspiciously high in this later period. In any case, it's clear. Judaism loves numbers. God is one. Every one of us are made in God's image. Anyone who saves one life saves the whole world. 2 tablets were inscribed by the finger of God. Whenever 2 people sit and study Torah, the Shekhinah, God's divine indwelling presence, dwells with them. 3 patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. 3 daily sacrifices in the ancient temple are recalled by 3 daily prayer services, Shachrit, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. 3 matzot on the Seder plate, Kohen Levi Yisrael, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yihiyeh. God has always been, God is, God will always be. 4 matriarchs, Sarah, Rachel, Leah, and Rebecca. 5 books of the Torah, 6 orders of the Mishnah, 7 days of the week, 8 days of Hanukkah and of Sukkot, 8 days until the bris, 9 months of pregnancy, if God willing all goes well, 10 commandments, 11 stars in Joseph's dream, 12 tribes, 13 attributes of God, 18 for Chai and for the Chuppah, 40 days and 40 nights, 44 in a box of Hanukkah candles, if you haven't broken any yet. 120 years was the life of Moses, 5,780 years since the events described in the book of Genesis. By now, I hope you're surprised to hear that I've always had terrible math anxiety, but I'm doing my best to overcome it. In ordinary things like numbers, we just might find extraordinary things if we look carefully and know ourselves well enough to choose our own behavior. Now, more than ever, it's better to be driven by the data than by our own preconceived notions. As that famous mathematician, Jewish of course, Paul Erdős said, numbers are all important and they're all my friends. On this 44th day of the Omer, and our last Shabbat of these 49 days, or 7 weeks before Shavuot, may we all find the extraordinary within the ordinary. And may the Holy One continue to reveal new and wondrous things that had previously been hidden to us. Kain Yehi Ratzon. This time I'd like to welcome Corey Gilman, representing our board of directors, to the main screen here for sharing a few announcements. And Corey, thank you so much for your generous service on our board. And I love your polo shirt.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully Max wasn't too distracting for everyone. But Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our virtual Shabbat. So many things have changed, but we have not canceled, thanks Max, just postponed or made things go virtual. So our Shabbat service will continue on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Friday into May and June. Virtual at this point, but we are looking at the potential for limited physical options as the state continues to open up. In addition, in May, we are going to have a 5th Friday service on Friday, May 29th, to observe Shavuot, Yizkor, and Shabbat. And it will be a Zoom meeting at 6:30, just like today. As the committees and groups are scheduling things virtually, as a reminder, if you want to use the temple's Zoom or conference line, just contact Rabbi Justin for Zoom or Beth Landy for the conference line number, so we're sure no one else is using it at that time. It's very easy to set up, and we can all stay connected. So some upcoming virtual events. We can continue to support Popsy's Pantry through monetary donations and dropping off items Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at their Hoover Road location. You can see our e-news for items they are in need of, or you can contact Isabel Atlas. Our next virtual book club will be on Sunday, May 31st at 3 p.m. The book is When Time Stopped, a memoir. Sorry, Max, you cannot touch that button. Sorry, dude. A memoir, sorry, lost my spot, of My Father's Way and What Remains by Ariana Newman. Our e-news has the Zoom link for that information. CBS Sisterhood, Max, dude, not the time. Sorry, man. Our CBS Sisterhood will be hosting a fireside chat via Zoom on Tuesday, May 26th at 7. Tuesday, May 26th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Our guest speaker will be Jessica Evans to discuss the very important and concerning topic of human trafficking. Please RSVP to Cheryl Peisner. Non-Sisterhood members are welcome. Last but very important, our annual meeting will still occur on Sunday, June 7th at 4:30 via Zoom. All information was emailed to congregants on Friday, May 15th. If you do not receive it, please contact Beth Landy. Since this will be a virtual meeting, everyone will need to vote in advance for our slate of officers. Specific instructions are on the ballot, so please follow them and let us know if you have any questions. In the meantime, if you or anyone you know of is in need of anything, food, a phone call, a virtual hug, or anything, please reach out to Rabbi Justin, Juliet, or our board of directors, or Barbie Steneker representing our Social Action Committee to assist you. We will find support and guidance. Also, if you have a few minutes, reach out to another CBS member or anyone that you may not have talked to in a while just to say hi and connect. This is so important during this time. Thank you to Rabbi Justin, Juliet, and everyone who has kept everything going at CBS as we take these new steps each day and week. On behalf of the CBS board and all of us, I wish you good health and a wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
And Shabbat Shalom to you too, Corey, and thank you so very, very much. We're going to continue with our service on page 278, or as I mentioned, the last time we'll count the Omer together this year. Hineni muchan u'mezuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. Here I am, ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, kakatuv abatorah, as is written in the Torah at Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15, you shall count unto you from the morrow after the day of rest, from the day that you brought an Omer of grain as a wave offering. 7 complete weeks shall they be, until the morrow of the 7th week shall you number 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed be Adonai, our eternally majestic God, who sanctifies us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom arba'a va'arba'im, yom shehem shisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is the 44th day, which is 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. Amen. Juliet. Sorry, Juliet, I almost forgot your sermon response, but let the record show I didn't.
Three is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity, You get 3 as a magic number. The past and the present and the future, faith and hope and charity, the heart and the brain and the body give you 3 as a magic number. It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand. It takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle. Every triangle has 3 corners. Every triangle has 3 sides. No more, no less. You don't have to guess. When it's 3, you can see it's a magic number. A man and a woman had a little baby. Yes, they did. They had 3 in the family. That's a magic number. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. And multiply backwards from 3 times 10. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 1 is 3, of course. And now everybody do it again. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 1, what is it? 3! That's a magic number. Rabbi and I have gotten to be very nostalgic going back through the Schoolhouse Rock songs lately, so maybe you'll hear another one again another time. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 2 people had a little baby. Yes, they did. There were 3 in the family. That's a magic number.
You can hear me laughing still. We're going to turn to page 282 at the bottom right hand of the double spread there for Aleinu L'Shabeach, which is the beginning of the conclusion of our service.
Aleinu l'shabeach on hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor alenu kechol ha'onam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You know, the Aleinu that appears on the lower left-hand side of our spread there, the one that begins, "Let us adore the ever-living God," is a Reform classic going all the way back to the 1895 Union Prayer Book. Early editions of that prayer book, rather than giving the stage direction, "Bend our knees and bow" at Anachnu Korim, actually would say we bow our heads in prayer before the Lord our Maker. It occurs to me that on these Zoom meetings, I once again have been bowing my head, if not able to stand and bow, as has always been my custom. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This week, Congregation Beth Shalom is in Shiva for Debbie Walensky, who was a friend to many of us, who died on May 19th, 2020. We are in Shloshim, a 30-day period of mourning for Rabbi Sissy Koran of Rockdale Temple in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we observe the yahrzeit as we fondly remember Alfred Ross, the grandfather of Kathy Gross, and Frances Gross, the mother of Howard Gross. If there are other yahrzeits whose names we are remembering this evening, please feel free to input them in the chat tool at the bottom of your screen. Our Mourner's Kaddish appears on page 294. It's one of the pages that we send each week for downloading. If you're using it, you should pull it out. If you're using the online flipbook or a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, you'll want to join us on page 294 for Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shamei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Israel ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach le'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yit hadar v'yit ale v'yit halal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the Holy One who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei Israel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh
Elliot, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, but we couldn't seem to spotlight you during that last selection. I hope everyone else could see you. I don't know what happened, and whatever it was, I hope we can fix it. Thank you so much, though, for your participation this evening. I'd like to thank my son Eli for serving again as our digital director and helping our service run so smoothly. And I'd like to invite all of you to, if you have enjoyed what you've experienced tonight, if it's been spiritually uplifting for you all, I hope it has. I know it has been for me. Then I'd like to invite all of you to, you know the drill, like us on Facebook and tweet about how well we're doing, and just tell your friends and your family about us. Now that there are so many different live streaming services to choose from, there's no longer any barriers to people joining us, and at the same time, our service is one of, I don't even know, many hundreds across this country and around our world. So please feel free to share us with others if you would like. We're going to make Kiddush now, a blessing over wine representing joy. This particular Kiddush cup was part of a Havdalah set that was given to me by my first student pulpit in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Of course, the best gift they gave me was my old dog Daisy, who went from Fayetteville to Cincinnati to Jerusalem to Boston to Athens, Georgia, to St. Louis with us. A very full life for my Arkansas Razorback dog. We think of her fondly. We miss her, but we love my current dog, Morty. So, if you have a cup of wine, please feel free to raise it with me as we chant the blessing over wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchelanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'odanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And once again, I'd like to thank my wife Hope for baking us challahs for our use this evening. I really wish I could just, they really need to come up with a feature on Zoom that lets me share the challah. If I could just click share challah like I can share my screen. I don't see what's so hard about that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'tei avon. I might mention that our challah board was a generous gift from a temple member as well, and we very much enjoy it. Feel free to put your arms around those you are close with, and if you are on your own this evening, I hope you can feel the virtual hug we are bestowing upon you all. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May the Holy One shine a light upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Holy One lift your spirits and establish peace for you, now and forevermore, as together we say, Amen. I think we can now go ahead and unmute everybody. Go ahead and let's just have a moment to greet one another as live as we can.
Hi, everybody. Good. We have